Hey, it's Ed. Today I would like to do a quick demo for you using some new features that were just added to a couple of the 4Pockets apps. There's several of the 4Pockets apps that have received updates, including the new tone packets features and some other enhancements. I'm not going to go into all of them here. What I want to show you very quickly is an example of what you can do with a couple of these new features and do it very quickly. What you see here is an instance of Strummer, also called MIDI Strummer, Strummer FX, MIDI Strummer, same thing, and a copy of 4Pockets Helium that I got loaded here. And I'll just minimize that for you. I've got it loaded up in AUM, so you got Strummer in an audio slot here, and you got Helium in a MIDI slot right there. And at the very end of this video, I'm going to show you the setup of exactly what settings are required for this. And I'm going to redirect you. I'm going to have a link to a video at 4Pockets, or a couple videos at 4Pockets that explain tone packets and how to get things set up to work using that feature and to do what I'm doing here. It's very straightforward, actually. As you see here, you might notice there's a little bit of a difference here. If you're used to Helium, you notice there's a custom layout loaded here, and I've created this specifically for Strummer. I took all the commands that Strummer accepts and put them in the MIDI section here and put descriptions in. I'm going to put a link in the description to download that copy of that custom layout file. And then if you wanted to set up this project the way I have it, you'll be able to do it using that custom layout, and then you can use all these controls. I'm just using one of them here. I'm going to play it for you, and then I'll explain a little bit more. Here we go. All right, there we go. So let me explain a little bit of what's going on here. And then at the very end, like I said, I'm going to show you the setups and the configuration required. I'm going to link to those other videos. But quickly, what I've got going on here is these chords here have been entered into the chord track. Got chord mode enabled. That's where you're seeing those chords. The colors come with the chords. And then right above it here, what you see in the MIDI sequencer, I've got variation A, B, C, and D. And what I'm doing is by sending MIDI notes, which are already mapped for you here in this custom layout, it's going to send variation A, trigger that up here in MIDI Strummer. So like right here, it's going to start with variation A, hit those two chords. Then for the next two chords, it's going to hit variation B. So that's going to be this one right here. And you'll hear the difference when it plays back. And then a measure 5 right here, it's going to play variation C, which is this one, and then finally variation D. And you can do all sorts of crazy stuff with this. I'm not going to go into all of it here, but let me just show you one feature. There is a option to play a 12-string guitar, so let me slide that in there. All right, so let's play this back with the 12th-string guitar and see how it sounds. It's going to just play for those first 2 bars. Let's give it a try. Time for the last section. All right, so here in this last section, I'm going to talk about how I got the setup. It's actually quite straightforward. It's covered in the videos that I'm going to link to, but I'm going to give it to you here in a very short version. So, got to do 2 things if you want to use the tone packets and if you want to get this setup working. So, first of all, down here, what I've done is tap and hold in this area right here. It only seems to work with the screen. And you select chord mode, and then you go down here and enter in your chords. You can just drag with your finger. I think I can use the mouse too. And then you would press and hold. Press and hold, there it goes. And then you can select your chord type, your root note for your chord, and other settings like that. So that's how you get your chords in there. And then the other thing you have to do is over on Strummer, you go to Input right here, do Piano to guitar control. It's very important that you choose this particular one because otherwise the tone packets aren't going to work. It's a requirement. And then host sync, if you want it to play back with the host transport and AUM, of course, obviously. And all these chords here and stuff, that's not going to matter. The sound font will matter. So make sure you choose the sound font you want. And then, you're going to want to pick, your chord patterns in here. So when it plays, it's going to play the variations that you want. And I think I just had a default in here, and I put in a custom C and a custom D myself. And then, so that's settings for Strummer, the most important one being that input right there. And then on Helium, all right, let's look at the settings in Helium. There are a couple settings you need to look at here. So first is going to be the Chord Mode options, and chord enable needs to be set to on. Chord anticipation has all these variations. The default on, you need to have it set on for those chords to be transmitted. And then if you want to use the tone packets feature, the new feature, which improves the performance and reliability and works better with the other 4Pockets apps that have tone packets, you have to make sure that's set to default or one of these other values. These are for if you want to send it slightly ahead of the bar, but in my testing, the default was sufficient for everything I did. So those are the settings that you need there. And that pretty much is it as far as the apps themselves. And then over here in the routing for AUM, you need to have two things going. So we need to have the control out coming from the Helium instance. That's going to go to Strummer. And then the Helium port 1. In this case, I'm sending from track 1. I'm sending my controls from track 1. So if I didn't have those controls coming out, I wouldn't need this to be sending unless I wanted to send notes. If I just wanted to send chords, I could just have this control out going into Strummer, and that would trigger those chords. In this case, I'm sending out notes, MIDI notes, to control the arps and the strumming. And so for that, I need this extra one. So it's actually quite simple, the setup. And then that's about it. So you're off to the races. Once you got those settings in place, create your chords and off you go. So I highly encourage you to check out the videos and see if it's something that might be interesting to you, and give it a try or experiment a little bit. Last piece for anyone who's interested in loading that custom layout that I showed you in Helium that controls Strummer and the playback, strumming, and so forth. That is a custom layout which you can load yourself. I'm going to have an attachment in the description to that file. You can download it, and I'm going to show you how you can get it transferred over. So first of all, load up a standalone instance of Helium. As you see here, you'll notice along the bottom it has these three icons. The one on the right is has the web transfer choice. Select that. Then from this layout, select grid layouts right here. That will then open a web transfer browser on your device. Then go to this address on your PC or Mac or compatible device that can open this and has access to the files. Then you can go into that device and copy that to a folder in the web transfer. And then once you do that, it's going to then appear in the list. If you go up here to grid, where it says right now 1/4 grid, press and hold on that, you get this pop-up here which says custom layout on the bottom right here. Go there. Now you're going to have a different list of items. I've got a few custom layouts I've created. Yours is going to be something like Strummer Control. So just click on that, and then that will then load the Strummer Control custom layout. So if you want to find out details about where all this came from, just check the help in the Strummer MIDI controls. It'll talk about all the different MIDI commands. And basically, I've mapped them out here. Every single MIDI note that corresponds to a command or control is listed here in the layout. I haven't tested out every single one, so hopefully it's pretty accurate. But if you find any defects, just let me know, and I'll see if I can fix it up. Anyway, thanks much for watching and have a good day.